Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the do's and don'ts of social media marketing. Today we have Cambium Network's Karen Pastorino presenting. Karen, when you're ready, you can take things from here.
Thanks, Olivia. So I am Karen Pastorino. I'm the Director of Global Channel Marketing and Operations at Cambium Networks. I've been with Cambium for about 8 years, and I want to welcome you to our webinar on the do's and don'ts of social media marketing. A little bit about me and my team. We manage all of our programs for our partners, and we also manage a couple of social media groups that are for our partners exclusively to help them with marketing. Joining me is Susan Bojanowski from our global marketing team, who is an expert on social media, and she will be on the call looking at any questions you might have, and she'll be joining us to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So if you do have questions as we go along, please type them in the question or chat box, and we'll answer them at the end. So let's start out with what not to do. Besides the obvious, such as offensive content, which you obviously don't want to do, we'll have to look at some other important things to avoid that you might not know about when it comes to social media marketing. First of all, no unintentional posting. Don't just post something to post something. If you don't have a reason, and if it's not going to be important to your audience, just don't post. What is important? Important can be a bit of interesting information you want to share, a link to a helpful resource, or even something entertaining, but the key is to post something that will engage your audience. Don't post frequent, unimportant information. You could risk not only annoying your followers, but losing them altogether. Think about how many times you unfollowed someone or some company for this very reason. It becomes spam in the eyes of the viewer, and they'll just unfollow you if they think you're spamming them. So having a schedule and content strategy is fantastic, but don't be too strict with it. Don't become too predictable, always posting the same type of content at the same time of day, in the same order, because that becomes boring for your audience. You want to leave some wiggle room. You never know what's going to happen during the course of a day that will spark an idea for a post. You don't want to lose the opportunity to be creative and be able to react. You don't want your followers to leave because they're bored. So finding a balance between promoting your products and services and marketing to build relationships and trust is not that easy. Social marketing isn't all about me, me, me. You don't want to fall in the trap of always self-promoting. To be honest, people don't like that. You want your followers to trust you, to engage with you, that's very important, and to promote you by liking, sharing, or commenting on your posts. Always hard selling your products and services is something you want to avoid because it very well can lead to the disinterested follower or the dreaded unfollower. People don't like to be sold to all the time. So don't go into social media as a mystery. You have to have brand recognition, and to boost your brand recognition, you have to be consistent in how you're posting. This is more than just your company logo, your colors, and your fonts. This is also about looking organized within your brand and sharing your company's mission, your company's voice. What is the message, the overarching message that your company is trying to promote? So you want to be consistent with your brand identity, although not being consistent with your types of posts, as we talked about earlier. When you write a post on LinkedIn, which is geared toward more professional business-to-business type of conversations, and then you copy that same exact post over to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., you've already lost. Each platform is different, and so oftentimes are the audience. Tweets are topical and short and sweet. Too long and your content will be cut off. And Facebook is more casual. Instagram is mainly focused on images. Your LinkedIn post surely can cross-pollinate, but it takes more time and effort on your part to tweak that message for each platform. You don't want to look like you don't care about what you're posting to your followers. So with all those don'ts, let's move on to the positive. Let's talk about what you should do instead. So you want to have a content strategy and a schedule. It sounds pretty boring, but not really, because when you plan ahead, you still have time to be creative. First of all, set aside some time to write content that you will deliver on a schedule. Plan a couple weeks in advance at least. Write your posts, spend some time, be creative. When it's time to actually post, your work is already done. And that leaves time for even more creativity and more ability to react to topical trends and any other surprises, things that pop up during the day. You can even choose to use an online tool such as Hootsuite to help you schedule your posts across multiple platforms. And then if you use one of those Hootsuite-like platforms online, you'll be able to view analytics, see what's engaging, what's working, and what's not working. Then you can tweak your strategy as you go to best build your company's following and brand recognition, or whatever your social goals might be. So speaking of goals, it's important to know what you're trying to accomplish. When you use social media marketing, you're not just posting willy-nilly, you have a plan and you want to accomplish a goal. So your goal can be brand recognition, it could be increasing customers, it can be getting leads, turning leads into sales, etc. So make your plans that follow your goals and follow them. Always keep your goals in mind as you're posting. And then if you can continually analyze the results of your posts, then you'll be able to learn which type of content is resonating with your audience and which types aren't. It's not the time to set it and forget it. You want to tweak your plans as you go, always reviewing the analytics and always trying to grow your audience. And here's a hint. Not a lot of people know this, but you can go in and follow your competitors and see what they're up to. We don't condone copying what people are doing, but you should know what they're doing on social media as well. So you do want to follow some rules. One of the keys to selling on social media is to not be selling all the time. There are a few schools of thought on this, and these are the rules I'm going to talk about now. One is the 411 rule. For each post that is a hard sell on products and services, another can be a soft sell, but the other 4 posts should either inform, educate, or entertain. Another rule is the rule of thirds. 1/3 of your posts are selling your product or promoting your business, but the other 2/3 are sharing content from your industry or influencers or personal stories relating to your business to support your brand. So why do you have to follow these rules? Because constantly hard selling is not going to lead to brand trust or loyalty. In fact, that type of marketing often leads to losing followers. Engage your audience by offering them content that is helpful to them in some way. Even entertaining content, as long as it's relevant to your business, is a great way to engage your audience. So speaking of engaging, remember that you want engagement. You want engagement to be positive, so you want to be able to react to the people that are engaging with you, and you want to be able to be prepared to deal with anything. So how do you do this? Well, you want to be on your social and be notified when you're getting responses. You want to search for relevant content about your company on the different platforms to see what's being said about your company. And then analyze these mentions. Determine what your next steps should be. If someone is really touting your business, maybe you should collaborate with them. These could be important advocates for your company to help you grow your followers and your brand recognition. But then there's always going to be the haters. So just as you are responding to positive comments on your posts, you'll want to respond just as quickly to all the negative comments, if any. Hopefully there are none, but you never know. But if you don't respond, you risk showing your customers that you don't really care about what people are saying. So by responding, you're showing all your followers, not just the haters, but all of them, that you're quick to respond and you do care about their concerns. When you do get a negative comment, you want to try to remove that situation from an online forum and make it a private forum. So try to move the conversation offline in your initial response to the comment. So that means saying, I'm going to private message you, or let's let me contact you, etc. Don't delete the negative comment, because people perceive deleted comments as you having something to hide. But however, if there is constant harassment or offensive content, that is, you have a troll on your back, you might need to block that person altogether from your page. And some platforms do also have ways for you to monitor comments prior to them appearing, which means you can choose whether to show them or not. And some allow you to ban certain words or phrases. I will say, though, that the monitored platforms aren't as you'd have to have somebody online all the time, otherwise you're becoming stale. People, when they comment, they like to see their comments immediately, and if they're sitting there in a queue for you to review for 24 hours because you're only one person and you don't spend 24 hours a day on social media, it might not be of the best interest for your company to do it that way. And then finally, there's paid ads. So why would you do paid advertising when you can post on social media for free? Well, there are some good reasons to consider it. These are social media machines. They have huge databases that allow you to target ads to the right people, locations, markets, etc. And ads will help you increase your brand awareness and also help bring new leads and new customers. So for example, let's say you have 100 followers. Posting is great. Some of them are going to like it, some of them will see it, and some will share it. But a paid ad goes way beyond your 100 followers. And you'll pay only for those users that take action on the ad. This is called pay-per-click advertising. So for example, according to a recent study I found by WordStream, the average cost per click on Facebook across all industries was $1.72. So if 100 people clicked your ad, you spent $172, which to me, it's not a lot of money to spend on advertising. When you use the pay-per-click route, you'll also receive detailed analytics of the success of each of your campaigns. So you'll be able to learn and tweak your ad campaigns as you go. So those are the do's and don'ts. The next section, we're going to talk about some helpful tips, helpful hints on social media. So this one's interesting. If you take a look at these 7 platforms, I found this information on HubSpot, which is a great resource for social media hints and tips and how-tos. So I would mark HubSpot.com as a place to look for information if you're interested on more details on social media marketing. So the reason I put this one up is what platform's right for you. So each of these 7 platforms here shows the number of users, typical audience and industry, and what each is best for. The ones on the left are likely the ones you're considering, but YouTube is also a great source of content as well as a social media platform. So some people don't think it's a social platform, but it really is. But we're going to focus on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you are marketing to customers, then consider Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're marketing to business, then LinkedIn and Twitter are your sweet spots. It's interesting to note LinkedIn is geared more toward B2B relationships, and Twitter is great for public relations and customer service. And Facebook is where you're going to improve your brand awareness the most. So in the handouts, I have these slides, so you don't have to remember all this information, and you can download the slides. Olivia will also be posting the webinar recording as well as a handout on our community. So how do you start? First of all, if you haven't started, you want to build your homepage on your selected platform or platforms. You want to use your company's consistent branding, including colors, logo, your tone of voice, your company description. And you always want to link to your company's website on each of the platforms. And now start planning your content strategy. And also, I recommend building a library of content. So by that, I mean, maybe have a spreadsheet of different tabs. One is ideas for content. One is links to content you've already created and owned that you want to talk about with maybe some ideas for what you might say about that content. Another tab could be links to interesting or relevant articles for your industry that would be helpful to your followers. Um, and also always be prepared and write something. When you see that article, it's going to spark an idea. Copy the URL or copy the link from the social media platform and write something of your own. You don't want to just share something without writing your own perspective on it. And I'm not talking about paragraphs, I'm talking about a sentence. Why you want your followers to read this article, why you thought this would be good for them. And then include a tab for sources. What are some good sources you have found in your research where you're always finding great things to share? Um, Type that URL in your spreadsheet so you always know where to go when you're looking for content. So once you establish your pages on the social media platforms that you chose, you want to advertise that in any way you can. So first and foremost, get your web guy or your web woman, whoever's doing your website, to put in the social links on every single page of your website. Usually this is at the bottom of the page. Sometimes it's at the top of the page, and usually they're little icons representing the social platforms you're on, and those icons will link to your pages that you have on social media. So that's the one way to advertise your social. We want to keep gaining followers, and when people come to your website and they like you, they're going to want to follow you on social media. And recommend doing more than one social media platform because your audience doesn't all like to be on LinkedIn or doesn't all like to be on Facebook. They all follow different social platforms. You also want to advertise your social links in your email signature. You can include those same little icons or links. Follow us on LinkedIn, and then just put a link on that text in your email signature. Also, any email campaign templates that you have. So if you're doing email marketing, which you should be, you should have a template so you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. And within that template is always your links to your social platform in the footer of that email, so you never have to think about that again. So let's talk about tagging. Not a lot of people, I mean, everyone's heard of tagging. I don't know that everyone knows why you would tag or what would be the purpose of doing this. So let's talk about that for a minute. On the right, I've shown some industry tags that I found this information on LinkedIn of how many people are following those tags. So that's interesting tidbit. So anyway, why would you tag? Tagging content makes it easier to find. If you tag something as Wi-Fi, then when you search for that hashtag, you'll find a bunch of content that has to do with Wi-Fi. So people on social media, especially on Twitter and somewhat on LinkedIn, follow hashtags. So it's important to pick ones that resonate with your audience. Um, I wouldn't recommend just making up a hashtag. You want to use the hashtags that people are actually following. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you how you can find those on LinkedIn at least. You can certainly search in the search box on LinkedIn or Twitter or any social media platform for a hashtag. If you think of one, search for it, see if people are following it. But the established ones are really important to know for your industry. So in LinkedIn, if you go ahead and click, oops, I didn't mean to click. If you go on LinkedIn and you click the little left icon and next to the search bar on the LinkedIn header, it will open up this sidebar. Scroll down to the bottom of that sidebar and click Discover More, and whoop, all these hashtags appear. I mean, I just found this the other day. So you're always learning something new if you're spending time on social media. So this is great because this shows me what LinkedIn thinks some important hashtags for me are going to be. So it will know you as a social media user, and it will give you your recommended hashtags. And then it shows you how many followers are following these hashtags and an easy way to follow them yourself. So just a few more hints. If you're going to tweet on Twitter, that's what it's called, a tweet, keep it short. Twitter caps the number of characters at 280. It used to be 140 characters for tweets in the past, but they've updated it so they're a little longer. So if you have a long URL that you want to use in your tweet, you should consider shortening it. There are free tools online to do this, and they even, if you join those, something like Bitly, if you make an account on Bitly, you can actually customize your shortened URLs. So if you look at the example on the left, the Bitly gives you that kind of coded shortened URL for a long website link, but I could go in and customize the text beyond the slash mark. So, and it will tell you if it's been used before, so it won't let you, create a shortened URL that someone else is using. So it helps also with your brand recognition if you can customize those shortened URLs to be more than just code, because I would rather click on Cambium overview than 36HLOYY because I don't know what that is. So you want a hashtag as well on Twitter, but you don't want to go crazy. Don't put 100 hashtags in there. 1 to 3 maximum is the best and recommended way to hashtag. So when you're posting on any platform, it's important not only just to use text, but to use images and videos whenever possible. They're much more visually appealing, obviously, and they result in more likelihood that someone's going to click on what you want them to click on. So a word on images, you don't want to just go on to Google Images and copy someone's image. You could get in trouble that way. So you want to obtain your images and video. You could share videos, that's fine, but to post an image, just to be safe, you'll want to obtain those in a safe way, which means to license them. You can either do a stock photo site where you pay for images, or there are many, many, many free stock image sites such as Pixabay. It's pixabay.com, and you can search for what you're thinking of and a bunch of free images show up that you can use safely. So if you're going to share someone else's content as well, remember what I said before, always put a little bit of text of your own to introduce that content while you're sharing it. And then you'll have more success for people to want to click on what you're posting. So that is it. That is all I've got today on social media. And like I said earlier, I have Susan Bojanowski with me. She's from our global marketing team, and she handles all of our global Cambium Network social media marketing for our company, and she's a great resource. So let's look at the questions, see if we have any. Hold on one sec while I look. So it looks like we have a few questions here. Susie, are you on?
Yes, thank you, Karen, for all the super helpful information and the nice introduction.
Great, thank you for joining me. I do have some questions. I'd love for you to give your perspective on them. So
Sure.
the first one is, what are some of the key metrics? So we talked about analytics. What are the key metrics that I really should be looking at when I'm posting on social media?
I would say that I look mostly at the engagement of our posts and who's clicking on them, because a click is the closest thing to an action, aka a sale in social media. So when you go into your analytics of Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm looking at how many clicks do we get on, our URL to the website or for the call to action in a post. It's really important to have your post have some destination, whether it's to your website, to a specific product page, or a post or a YouTube video. That click is an action and could eventually lead to a sale. So clicks and engagement is the most important metric that I look at.
Great. So what if you don't have someone like you? I know, Susie, your only job is not social media marketing. So how do you, so this question could be, I'm sure you're expert on answering. So this company doesn't have a marketing personnel dedicated to social media. So how do you use resources? What can you use to help you with your social media marketing?
Yeah, kind of like you said earlier, Hootsuite is a great resource. I believe they do have a free version, for scheduling, and it is the, social media mission control center. You can see all of your profiles on one dashboard. You can schedule, you can monitor what people are saying about you, and I would say checking that, once a day at minimum, just to see what's going on. And of course, that also falls into planning ahead and scheduling your post within that platform. Additionally, just a simple Google search. There's a lot of free, email subscriptions or webinars out there that, aren't even from Cambium. They're from Adobe or Marketo, and other, big marketing machine companies that just offer all of this free advice for you and free tools. But then, of course, you can go to social itself, go on LinkedIn, and you'll see all of our helpful posts. I know, Karen, you post a lot. And I would say using it more often helps you kind of learn the tool. But if you're really, restricted on time, I would say Hootsuite or another platform, another scheduling platform like that would be the best option for you.
Thank you. I just want to add one thing to that. So you sparked something in me when you said, Karen, you post a lot. So my job at Cambium, I'm mostly posting to our social groups that are private groups for our partners, but I try to also increase my company's brand recognition on my own personal LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook pages by sharing content my company posts. So when Susie posts something, it's important that the Cambium employees also share, like, comment to increase engagement. So
Mhm.
that's something you should tell your employees. We're starting this social media campaign. Make sure you're following the company pages, make sure you're monitoring and sharing, posting, and commenting to help promote the company brand, to help get the message out, to help engagement. We have one more question. What's one of the biggest mistakes people make when using social for marketing?
So I heard a really great analogy once. When people, sign up to do social media and have a social profile, it's kind of like an online store. So when people are passing by your store, you don't want them to see, empty shelves, no one in there. So I think a big mistake is not posting often or relative content, or, not responding promptly and appropriately, which I know you touched on earlier. So I would just say, social media is sort of this always on idea, and you need to be present. And there are tools out there that notify you when someone does post a comment, on a Facebook post. So that's another, tool, as you could see it as customer service as well, responding timely when someone posts a question. I think it's important to use social in that way for customer service. That's kind of where I think, the trends are. People are just going to Twitter to, oh, I have a problem with this. Let me, tweet at this company. And, being responsive, being present in this so-called store is important. And just to make sure that, someone's there all the time, someone's watching it, someone's posting relative content that, your customers will like.
So that brings up an important distinction on Twitter as well. That's where people are going to go to complain. I
Mhm.
just I
Mhm.
just did it last week, and the company I complained about, I was hoping for a response. I thought if they respond to me, then I will give them another chance. I got no response, so I'm really turned off by that company right now. I
Exactly.
actually I have a couple other questions. More questions are coming in. So this one is, do I need a suitable time to post? Well, in my opinion, and Susie, jump in if you think differently. I don't know where you're from. This is from Philip. So wherever you are in the world, there's going to be time to post, obviously, and also if you're a global seller, then that's 24 hours a day is you have to decide. But if you search online for when's the best time to post on LinkedIn or when's the best time to post on Facebook, you will get a lot of articles with
Mhm.
opinion on that. So I think it's just what works best for your customer base. Uh,
Yeah, I would agree.
and then here's one. Most of the time I post on Instagram, and then I share the same post on Facebook with the auto feature share. So LinkedIn and Twitter have that too, by the way. Should I change what I'm doing?
I think it's good to share cross-platform, but with Facebook, you have more room to put more wording in your, caption, I guess you could say. With Instagram, I don't think, very long captions are good, so people tend to keep those shorter because it's more about the photo for Instagram. But for Facebook, if you have this great photo and you want to post it everywhere, that's totally fine. But maybe on Facebook, give it more of a background, throw in a hashtag or something, tell people what it's about.
Right. Okay, well, I think that was very helpful, Susan. Thank you for helping me answer the questions.
Of course.
And that is it. Thank you for joining us. And again, we'll be recording this and posting it for later viewing if you have colleagues that would like to see it. And again, I did post the handout if you'd like to download that as well. It has all my notes, everything I talked about, so you can use that as reference as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Karen.